This Aquarius new moon is coming with some deep and powerful revelations and news for all of us. This is where we are at the darkest part of the tunnel right before we start seeing the light. So just hold on. In a sense, it's a collective ego death that happens with the Aquarius new moon. But this particular Aquarius new moon is jam-packed with some really, really powerful indicators of that as well. As always, you want to just sit still and relax for a minute and watch the first part of this video, because this is where you're really going to get a lot of the juice of this video. Like, this is where I am describing the greater context of what's going on, not only in a collective scale, but in everybody's lives in some way, shape, or form. This is where I really get deep, and this will add to the context of what I go over for your rising sign at the end of the video. So make sure you watch the first part, because if you're just skipping ahead, you're literally missing out on so much. And if you're new here, my name is Tani Michelle. We do all kinds of astrological stuff over here. I am a tropical, Hellenistic, traditional astrologer, so keep that in mind when watching my videos. And let's get into this Aquarius new moon. So as we most likely know by now, a new moon is a new beginning when the sun and the moon get together in the sky, creating a kind of void. But this particular new moon is happening in the sign of Aquarius, and Aquarius is a fixed air sign that is ruled by Saturn. And at this time of year, we are in the dead middle of winter, okay? So this is the sun's kind of weakest place in astrology. This is where the light is not as bright. We have shorter days. This is basically where the sun comes to die. From here on out, we will start gaining in light, but at this time of year, it can feel dark, right? We are in the middle of winter in the northern hemisphere, at least. And so it can feel dark, it can feel cold, we can feel the coldness in our bones. It is definitely a time of the light basically waning, and the sun standing for basically the soul, the individual, our own individual wants and desires and willpower. The light at the end of the tunnel, the sun basically is. It gives us hope and inspiration and vitality. This particular time of year, the light is waning in Aquarius season. This is where the soul is getting ready to exit, metaphorically, this human existence. And so it is less about the self, it is less about the ego, it is less about the individual and the individual wants and the individual will, and more focused on others, the greater good for everybody. Really a humbling experience as well for the sun, realizing it can't be the perfect hero all the time. Leo is the opposite to the sign of Aquarius, where this new moon is happening. And Leo is where the sun is at home, which is why in Aquarius, it is in its detriment. This time of year, the sun is not able to be its usual vital, alive self. As a collective, we can experience this. It can feel like there is a darker energy in the air. We can feel like we have less energy, less vitality, like we want to rest more. Plus, this is the first few months of this year, as I've been saying, is really not the time to be moving full speed ahead with things just yet. Mars is retrograding in Cancer, really wreaking havoc in our emotional worlds where we feel safe, our needs, our family, are reflecting on the past and making big changes in this area. The sun is realizing here in Aquarius that it can't be its usual self, and as a collective we can really feel that. It can be kind of a humbling experience, and so in that humbling experience, that loss of courage, vitality, confidence, that loss of light, we can sometimes look for others and look to others and start focusing on the whole or the greater good or the many or the collective. So this is the sun's death phase, right? If Leo is where the sun is full of life, where it can fully shine and be at its peak, Aquarius is where it is dying, so to say. And so Aquarius, like if Leo is the hero, Aquarius is the anti-hero, basically. So this is a darker time of the year. I'm going to be real with you. Darker doesn't always mean bad, though. It just means that there's more that is unknown. There's more that is not necessarily understood. Can be a heavier, denser, deeper time of year. Again, where we lack kind of the energy and vitality that we normally have. It can kind of test our honor, our confidence, our individuality, our energy, our faith, our hope. So in that way, it's somewhat of a collective ego death. This Aquarius new moon is also pointing to that in other ways by other things we have going on at the time of this new moon, which I'll go over here in a little bit. So it's kind of realizing that, oh, I'm just like everybody else. Maybe I'm not so special. Maybe it's not all about me all the time, right? Like maybe I kind of am just another human on this earth, you know, I'm just like everybody else. And that's where the sign of Aquarius really comes in. It's kind of giving up our own sense of self and identity to worry about others or worry about the collective or the group or, you know, different types of groups of people in some way, you know, whether it's our relationships, our family, or the world at large. It's in some way we feel like we're kind of giving up something of ourselves to do these things or to focus on other things. And, you know, there's a reason that I am a traditional astrologer, that I don't consider myself a modern astrologer. I do look at the modern planets, you know, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and I do look at their transits, but I don't use them as rulerships. And it's because I started as a modern astrologer the first couple years. And once I actually got into the roots of astrology and realized why and how everything worked, everything changed. And so there's a reason the ancient rulerships make sense and worked for a long, long time, you know, before modern astrology and modern ideologies came in. And I'm not here to necessarily debate this, but I do recommend you at least start with traditional astrology and learn why these planets ruled what they did to the ancients. And so the reason that Saturn traditionally rules Aquarius, which for a while took me a while to wrap my head around because I kept seeing Aquarius through this Uranus lens. But Aquarius is not necessarily the rebel. That is one way it can, you know, play out, you know, with this outcast kind of rebel mindset or way of thinking. But actually, Saturn traditionally ruled outcast and rebels because Saturn is the farthest planet we can see with the naked eye, and it has the ring around it. Therefore, it stands for boundaries. What's inside the boundary and what's outside the boundary. The sun is in detriment in Aquarius because the sun is in Saturn's sign, right? The farthest planet, and the sun and Saturn are always kind of at odds with each other because the sun is the light and Saturn is the darkness, what is beyond what we can see, right? With the naked eye, the sun looks, you know, like an eye in the symbolism because it's like what we can see. Our eyes give light. Our eyes can see when there is light, right? Saturn ruling a fixed air sign means fixed ideas about boundaries and social, you know, ideologies, with it being an air sign, and air signs always being about the social realm, communication, etc. So fixed ideas and how to progress or systemize from here. So Aquarius really deals with categorizing and organizing things in a way, right? Because of boundaries, separation. It's not this like love, light, hippie sign that people think it is. It's one of the darkest signs of the zodiac. And by dark, I don't mean evil, okay? It just, like I said, the sun is in detriment here. This sign and Capricorn don't have a lot of light. The sun can't shine in these two signs like it can in, you know, Cancer or Leo. But because Aquarius is an air sign, it deals with social life. It deals with social issues, societal issues, progressing society, right? Because it's ruled by Saturn, and Saturn deals in a way with the bigger collective things that are going on since it's so slow moving. So Aquarius isn't just outcast and rebels. It's also the normal people. It's any really group of people, right? And where we can kind of get into group thinking on the shadow side, where we almost give up our own individual way of seeing things to think like a group. I'm not just trying to talk bad about Aquarius, okay? I have quite a few planets in Aquarius, including my moon, okay? So I have Aquarius in me, okay? So I do understand it to a certain extent, I would say. But Aquarius kind of rules over these different ways of thinking about society. How do we move forward? What's the majority? What's the minority? What are these categories? What are these categories? And kind of, again, boundaries, separation in society, right? And separation within our thinking. Aquarius can rule over, like a lot of key words that come up during this time is like utopia versus dystopia, and the individual versus the group. People can easily get called selfish for not doing something or not participating in some greater thing that's going on. And as a Leo rising with an Aquarius moon and Saturn in Aquarius and my descendant in Aquarius, I really kind of see this axis very clearly in the push and pull from the individual and the collective. And, you know, two things I want to say here as well about this time. Just because we don't understand something doesn't mean that it's evil or that it's the enemy. Because that's the thing in Aquarius, it's like we're looking for that line, right? Between this is good, this is bad, or this is fair, this is unfair. And not everything that we don't understand is our enemy. For instance, a lot of Aquarian energy we've seen over like the last several years, starting in 2020, 2021, with all of the social division. We had Saturn in Aquarius and we had Jupiter in Aquarius. We had the Great Conjunction happening right at 0 Aquarius. A lot of that was Aquarian energy. Now, you could say, depending on your perspective, it was the shadow side of Aquarius, like even the topic of should, one person wear a mask because they have their own individual issues with wearing it versus other people that are saying, no matter what, you should wear a mask. You know what I mean? Do you do what's good for you or do you do what's good for the greater good, everybody else? Another show that I think really, really captures Aquarius energy is the show The Society. It was on Netflix. I'm not sure if it still is, which was a really good show. Little forewarning, it did get canceled though, but it's still a good show nonetheless. That is so Aquarian. That show is so Aquarian. Also, one of my favorite shows, or one of my favorite movie series, the Divergent series, is so Aquarian and Leo, kind of both at the same time, the individual versus the collective and the system that we live in, or the socially accepted system that we live in. But I mean, here's why I see more Saturn dealing with Aquarius than I do Uranus. Because the Aquarians I know aren't, and even myself, I wouldn't say that I'm very Uranian. If anything, if Uranus were to rule a sign, it would be like a mutable sign, because Uranus is about constant change. Aquarius is not really about change. It's about keeping things progressing and almost, keeping things boxed in or trying to make things the same. It's almost like whack-a-mole. I just need all the moles down, because if one mole raises up, then that's going to make an injustice happening here, because the other moles are down and they have to stay down and this mole is up, right? So it's this kind of topic. It's these kind of ideals that come up a lot with Aquarius energy and Aquarius season. With Pluto here now, I do think that Pluto in a way is giving power to the people. It may not be in ways that we can all agree on or see or whatever right now, but I do think that in a way Pluto is giving power to the people. But I also think Pluto is, because Pluto is death and rebirth, Pluto is ending a lot of things that have been either done in the dark or that are not working, to do with the sign of Aquarius, to do with certain social ideologies, certain social systems that we've lived in, or certain ways of separating people. And it will bring things to light from the underworld. It's showing us the darker traits of this sign, just like it showed us the darker traits of Capricorn when it was in Capricorn. And it kind of transformed a lot of the things that Capricorn does rule on a more collective scale when we look at everything that happened, from 2008 until the last few years. So Aquarius deals both with the conventional and the unconventional. So last month in Capricorn season, for the Capricorn new moon, right? We really were focused on our goals and the physical things in our lives that need to change, our duties, our responsibilities, the physical elements of our lives that needed to be changed around, where we needed to kind of step it up or set boundaries, etc., right? Aquarius, this Aquarius new moon is like, how do we progress after that? But it's air, it's in the mind, it's not actually physical, right? So it's like, how do we create some kind of system to where we can continue to progress off of whatever started in January? Because this is fixed air and Saturn ruled, the other issue with Aquarius, and again, I know I'm kind of bringing up a lot of the shadow sides, but it's just, that's what I feel like we've seen in a lot of ways. We have seen great things as well, but I just feel like it's a Saturn ruled sign. Saturn is a malefic planet for a reason. This sign can be a difficult sign. Not saying Aquarius people are necessarily all difficult, but they are complex, right? I'm a complex person with my Aquarian placements. We can kind of be a little bit aloof, detached, cold, distant, right? Cold. Aquarius is the literally the sign in the middle of winter, when the sun is at its detriment, when the sun is dying. But the good quality of that is that we can put our own individuality and ego aside for people in our lives or something greater than ourselves that we know, we need to fit into in some way. So yes, it can be about fitting in, but also standing out. And the thing about Aquarius is because it's the mind and it's Saturn ruled and it's fixed air, it's very stubborn with its ideals and can become very cold or intolerant, emotionally intolerant to others that do not share its ideals. And so this is what we kind of have to watch out for with this energy. And in the month ahead, as we move through Aquarius season, we're likely going to see a lot of these topics. We're likely going to see a lot of different groups or categories or labels, separation between certain groups coming up. Also, I would associate like things like AI with Aquarius because again, it's informational. It's not even completely like real, right? It's all mind, it's all computer, it's all mental, right? It's all information, right? And so, the topic of AI versus humans is very Aquarian and somewhat Leo, right? Like the human soul, Leo, has warmth and it's alive and, like it actually has like a personality behind it, right? Whereas Aquarius dealing with the more informational, rational mind space, informational space, and which also can be quite aloof, these kind of two polarities are really huge with the Leo Aquarius axis. I would even argue it is the Aquarius energy that can quite literally exile others for not thinking the same or agreeing on the same ideals in some way, because again, it can create separation amongst people. So on the lighter side, some of the things that we can see, obviously, like I said, are social ideas, social systems and topics of these types of things, those outside the bounds of society and those inside the bounds, those that kind of think differently from the norm, innovation, upgrading the old, science and discoveries and experimentation is very Aquarian. So Aquarius can deal with humanitarian topics, rational and logical thinking and kind of fixed mindsets or fixed ideologies where we can kind of detach from our emotions to move forward with something, kind of this greater good mentality. We can hear a lot of things about like the greater good or, doing things for a group of people. Aquarius also really is known to deal with technology like the internet. Great example where we can connect and get so much more information and connect with all of these people, way more masses all around the world. But it's also made us so much more disconnected, i.e. the detachment, the emotional side or the emotional detachment side of Aquarius. So it's also made us so much more disconnected at the same time because we almost rely now so many people almost rely now on technology, a phone, a computer, whatever, to connect with the world. Aquarius can also be somewhat very future focused. Social roles, social classes are a big one with Aquarius energy. What's socially acceptable, and aliens are also another really big Aquarius topic because it's again what's outside the bounds, what's beyond the boundaries of Earth, right? So I'm not going to go over the shadow side because I think I already very much did that. Again, like looking at Aquarius through a collective scale and talking about this to many of you, reading it in a collective way, it is ruled by a malefic planet, right? So therefore, some of the traits that it can rule on a bigger scale are going to sound a little bit more negative. So I'm not trying to necessarily be negative. I actually think this new moon, although we are going to see a lot of these topics over the next few weeks, I actually think this new moon on an individual scale is bringing in a lot of positive clarity, but it may feel serious, dark, or heavy at first, okay? But I do think there's still a sense of hope, optimism, and faith that it's not always going to be this way, or that things are somehow changing for the better through these necessary revelations or this necessary news or information that is coming in. And that's because of some of the other things that we have happening around this new moon. So I wanted to add this because I don't think I quite nailed in the point in the video, but basically the higher octave of Aquarius is really realizing how we are all alike and how that can actually be a good thing. What we can relate to about others, what we can understand about others rather than, know, completely making it us versus them, or this group versus that group, or all these different divisions between people, but actually appreciate that we are all different and have different ways of thinking, and that's what makes the world beautiful to begin with. So this is the higher perspective of Aquarius, the higher lessons of Aquarius, where we see that we are all one people. And yes, there are different factions or different categories or whatever of different people, different groups of people, but that at the end of the day, we are still all one people. Moving on to the rest of the astrology around this new moon. Number one, Mars is still retrograde. So like I said, you know, with Mars retrograde, the first few months of this year, we are going to feel a lack of ambition, a lack of energy. Plus, with it being winter time and the sun being in its detriment, like, I know for me especially, like, all I've wanted to do is work and create more videos, and it feels like there is constantly something coming up that's like really personal, or like, you know, that really needs my attention, that I can't just say no to, that I have to deal with this Mars retrograde. And so that has been a huge way that this also can be playing out lately, where it's like, okay, well, I have to kind of give up what I want to do, or my own, you know, individual desires, whatever, for the greater good of the people in my personal life, or the things going on personally that I need to deal with that are more of a priority right now for whatever reason, right? So that's like an example of how this can all play out. But also with Mars, it's bringing up a lot of stuff from the past, right? To either do with matters of the heart, just really personal, emotional things. You know, if you have old grief coming up from the past, old issues with your family, old issues with, you know, just your needs being met, you know, just like all of these like really personal, sensitive issues, safety, security, you know, where you feel safe emotionally, like all of these really personal, emotional, sensitive topics could be coming up from the past, and it can almost feel like we are going backwards to address them. And I want you to know that that is so fucking normal right now. Okay, so I want you to know that if that's what you're going through, then you know, Mars and Cancer, I really feel like it is bringing up a lot of like edgy personal shit, right? But I also feel like this is for a reason, right? And I mean, I'm an astrologer. I believe everything happens for a reason, okay? So there is some kind of story here with this. And I do know that it's for a reason, because later on this year in June, Jupiter is going to move into Cancer. And that's really going to, I think, help us understand on a deeper level what this whole Mars retrograde in Cancer is about. This whole Mars retrograde story that we've been dealing with since like October, you know, before it even went retrograde. There's been some kind of story unfolding in our lives since like around October, and we've been having to go back and revisit the past and revisit these like sensitive, you know, topics and matters of the heart and family and needs and our emotional, you know, things that we're dependent on emotionally. Like we've been really having to address, and this is potentially for some kind of healing, for some kind of closure, for some kind of change, to show us what we're really passionate about, to show us what we really want, right? And so if you have some of that coming up, I just want you to know it's normal. If you don't feel like you're full speed ahead on your New Year's goals right now, don't worry about it, okay? That time will come. You don't need to worry too much. Like, just do what you got to do right now, okay? Don't stress yourself out too much. Rest, relax, heal, address this shit that's coming up because it needs your attention for some reason before you can move forward, okay? Now, the other big thing about this new moon in Aquarius is that we have Pluto and Mercury basically coming into their conjunction at this new moon. And the new moon, by the way, I never said, is happening on January 29th, okay? So we have Pluto and Mercury coming into their conjunction. Pluto is, again, the underworld. So on a very basic level, Mercury, the messenger, is going into the underworld and meeting with the ruler of the underworld, Hades, and bringing us a message. So this could be some really deep revelation, some really powerful news that comes out. The only thing is, I will say, the potential on like a personal level, this could be like a really, like us kind of setting the record straight, or us kind of being like, okay, either I need to have a really deep personal conversation about something, or it could be something you're announcing, or it could be some kind of information coming in, or a conversation, or a huge revelation. But either way, there's a message that either we are giving or that's coming to us from the underworld around the time of this new moon that really starts some kind of new beginning in our lives, or some blank space in our lives. Okay, this could be even like us making a really powerful decision around this new moon. Now, this new moon, because the moon goes dark and we kind of have this void, this space is created, I think that on a collective scale, we could see some really powerful news come up, or some information revealed, some secrets revealed from the underworld, but maybe we don't see them right away on this new moon, because on a new moon everything goes dark, so we can't see, and the sun's in detriment. So that makes me think that there is a potential that something could come out as this new moon is building, and that we could end up seeing later once we have the Mercury Cazimi on the 9th. So the Mercury will conjunct the sun on the 9th, and then maybe on February 9th, and then maybe that is when things come to light. So for some people, and for, I think that, and on like a collective scale, I think there is some potential that whatever Mercury is revealing from the underworld, for some of us, it could hit us right around this new moon, and for others of us, it could be something that comes out or is announced later, and then we find out that it actually started around this new moon in some way. Like, you know, okay, like someone makes an announcement, and they're like, I found out on around January 29th or January 28th that this, and this, or I made the decision on this day and now I'm announcing it, right? So watch out for something like that. Again, for some of us, we could actually feel something really powerful happening right around the new moon. And for others, it could be like a little bit delayed. So just kind of pay attention to that. And also, you know, with Pluto and Aquarius, we have some kind of Pluto and Aquarius story that has been building in all of our lives that started back in, I mean, you could say it started when it went into Aquarius a few other times, but I have noticed that it did start when Pluto moved into Aquarius in those other times. But for the sake of this video, I'm just going to focus on October, end of November, when Pluto, right before Pluto went into Aquarius, it was opposing Mars in Cancer. Okay. Then Pluto went into Aquarius, and then Mars went into Leo. They started opposing basically there, and then Mars went a few degrees ahead and then went retrograde. Okay, so something started at the end of October, beginning of November. Then something happened around the end of November and beginning of December. Then something came back, started kind of, you know, working backwards, like mid-December. Then we had like another hit that dealt with this opposition, because we had Venus go over Pluto, which was like mid-December. That's why I'm saying mid-December. And then we had some other stuff come up the end of December, beginning of January. Now we've been having stuff come back around. So this whole week before the new moon, we've had the sun conjunct Pluto, which brought up some really, really powerful death and rebirth stuff, some really powerful ego deaths, some really powerful insight into something going on a deeper level, or something that could have been secretive, or something that could have been hidden. You know, there's been something that has been coming to light, or that we've had to reveal, or even some kind of emotional eruption or emotional overwhelm that we've been having to deal with. And then we've also been having to deal with this Capricorn Cancer dynamic leading up to this new moon in Aquarius on January 29th, where we've had to basically, we felt like we've been in between having to put our emotions aside and get shit done, or focus on our physical lives, or put our physical lives aside and focus on our emotional lives. And so there's been a lot of stress coming into this new year, and a lot of things that have been happening as we've been moving forward, right? And also feeling like we're going backwards, and we're reevaluating and reflecting on the past, and there's things from the past coming up. And so it can feel like there's a lot going on. But I do feel like, even though this new moon is in Aquarius, where the sun is in detriment, and Pluto is conjunct Mercury, or Mercury is conjunct Pluto at this time, bringing up messages from the underworld, bringing up deep, powerful conversation and news that likely has to do with this story that has been happening since October, I also feel here that whatever this is, though, in some way, shape, or form, is helping us to forgive, let go, transcend, heal, like have faith, okay? Because Venus on this, right around this new moon, goes into shadow, and she goes into shadow as she is basically conjunct Neptune and the North Node. This goes exact the very first few days of February. So Venus is coming up on Neptune during this time. There's something here that's being revealed to us around this new moon, or within like you know, the first week or two of this new moon, but there's some kind of hopeful, faithful, optimistic energy to it, or something where it's going to feel good to let go or release whatever we are not in control over or whatever we don't have power over. But we're also going to be coming back to this because Venus goes into shadow here, because she's going to come back to this place at the end of her retrograde and then go direct in March and April. Okay, and so there's something really important fucking happening now for this saga, this story that we've been moving through for the last, you know, several months, right? And so this is going to be very interesting. And I do believe, because Venus is exalted in Pisces, so this is a really positive place for her to be in. Pisces is about integration. Pisces is about bringing things together. And on top of this, you know, she is, you know, coming off of a trine with Mars and Cancer. So it's like we're trying to harmonize all of these different things that are going on in our lives right now. We're trying to see the bigger picture, let go, have faith, have optimism. But, you know, it's been hard because we haven't really understood everything, or we haven't really figured out everything. Like, we can't really see everything just yet. Not everything makes sense just yet. We don't understand the bigger purpose or bigger reason for why this is happening. And I feel like this new moon, because this new moon is also trining Jupiter, but Jupiter is in its in its detriment in Gemini. I do feel like to some level we are getting some kind of understanding around this new moon. And that is leading us to some kind of new beginning that is starting here, or some kind of big decision that we're making. Mercury, Pluto can be really associated with powerful decisions, powerful announcements, you know, powerful words that really progress our lives in some way. But there's something big here changing in the mind or the social informational space that is going to help us progress forward. And I think that this month, if we cannot get too fixed on our ideals, or if we can get fixed enough on our ideals that are actually helpful, and also allow ourselves to still be emotionally understanding, because there's so much in air and water right now. So this is really asking us, like, can you focus mentally and socially and progress forward and treat everything as an experiment and not get too hung up on doing it the right way, but actually be open-minded and not get too fixed into it's gotta be this way or this is the only way. And also, can you focus and embrace this Aquarian energy without losing your grip on your feelings and your emotions, right? And not just becoming aloof or shut off or detached emotionally. That is what I have to say for this Aquarius new moon. Let me know down below if you watched the whole first part of this video. Make sure to comment badass alien down in the comments below. That is what I'm seeing for this new moon. There's so much happening in the month of February. I'm actually trying to get to February horoscopes for all signs. I haven't done monthly horoscopes in a while, so stay tuned. I also have another video I filmed last week that I'm running a little late on because the editing has taken forever, that I have coming out about how to thrive in 2025 and kind of give the bigger story and picture of what is coming this year and how to move through it. So stay tuned for that as well. But yeah, there is so much happening, and this Aquarius new moon is another piece in the story. And it's really like, again, we're having to detach from our own personal desires and wants right now to do something for the greater good, whether that's our family, our friends, our relationships. It's like, you know, but we're also still trying to find ourselves in that. I'm not saying to go over a boundary that you have or to completely neglect yourself, but this month with the sun in detriment in Aquarius, it can kind of show us where we lose our sense of self on a either in like a negative way, or where we can do that in a positive way as well. And so you just kind of have to watch for those themes. But also, once the Leo full moon hits, that is a realignment with the self. And that's where we really start to see the light at the end of the tunnel. The Leo full moon every year is like a light at the end of the tunnel. Like, shit's been dark, shit's been weird, shit's been a little cray cray. Feel like I've lost myself a little bit in all this Aquarian energy, but that Leo full moon's gonna come in and be like, oh, this is who I am. That's right. And help us balance that out. Okay, so let's go ahead and go over what this means for your rising sign. Also, really quick, I am a traditional astrologer, like I said, and I use whole signs, not Placidus. Okay, so I'm sorry if you're looking at your chart in Placidus and I'm reading, if you're an Aquarius ascendant and I'm reading your horoscope and, Pisces is not your second house or whatever, then you're going to have to like look at your chart in whole signs, or I guess watch different signs to try to figure it out. But horoscopes are written for whole sign houses. Okay, so that means every sign has its own house in your chart. And that was the system that was used for thousands of years before the Placidus house system came out, which is newer. That's the system I use. So just keep that in mind. I had a lot of people commenting on my 2025 horoscopes about that. So I just wanted to clarify that. Okay, let go. Alrighty, Aquarius risings, this new moon for you is happening in your sign. So this is a powerful new moon happening in your sign, and this is your first house of your appearance, yourself, your identity, your body, your physical health, and how you see yourself and how you like to appear to the world. So this new moon is a new beginning that is really kind of starting here, and the really powerful part of this new moon is that Mercury is going to be conjunct Pluto. And that's likely bringing in some kind of understanding happening here to do with how you identify, to do with different maybe social things going on in your life that you identify with, or how you think of yourself and what the different labels, the different categories that you kind of put yourself in could be really big themes that come up here. This could also be with Mercury, Pluto conjunct in your first house, where you are kind of giving some kind of news or announcement, or where you make some kind of powerful decision or some kind of powerful understanding or revelation about yourself that is a really big deal in some way and really helps you understand on more of a mental level or a social level or a verbal level how to kind of move forward and progress in your life in some way. Now, in some ways, this could be tied to your finances, your resources, your needs, your values, your priorities, and the things that are really important to you in some way, as we have Saturn, the ruler of this new moon, and this Pluto-Mercury conjunction in your second house of finances, resources, your needs, the things that you depend on, the things that you own, your priorities. So this could somehow be coming in. And also we're going to have Venus coming up on her conjunction with Neptune right around this new moon in your second house. And so this is a really big deal. It's almost like you're having to make some kind of decision or change the way that you've been perceiving something, potentially even perceiving yourself or your identity, in order to really have faith in or believe in what it is that you want for yourself in terms of resources, finances, things of that nature, the things that you own. This could be a time where you're feeling rather dreamy or mystical or hopeful or optimistic in terms of your finances and the things that you own. Or there could be, something you're doing with another person here or relationally to do with finances and resources. But there's definitely some focus here between your identity and the things that you own, the things that you have, the things that you value. And so that's going to be really, really interesting. It's almost like you're wanting to potentially create something of your dreams in terms of finances and resources, or what you have, or potentially even use your talents or creative skills to create something. But to do that, you need some kind of mental reset or mental shift in terms of how you think about yourself, right? And so I really could see this as like you, because as an Aquarius rising, the way that you may think about yourself may be very much like, oh, I'm not special, I'm just like everybody else, or I relate to everybody else, or you may have this like very humble approach to your identity in some way, or the way that you think about yourself in some way. And so you may like almost somewhat, what's the word I'm looking for? Like kind of play down your gifts, your talents, what you have or what you're capable of having. And so this is something that could be coming up for you, you know, and also I see this really involving some of the troubles or frustrations or issues that you've had to deal with in terms of work, health, and your routines, and some of the emotional needs and emotional issues that have been kind of coming up there as well, with Mars in your 6th house. And so I'd really love to know, as an Aquarius rising, again, this is a new moon, so the new moon is kind of like a void. It's a very subtle energy, but it does start to build over the next couple weeks. I think if anything, you'll be feeling that Mercury-Pluto conjunction and that Venus-Neptune node conjunction happening in your 2nd house. But either way, these are important transits to pay attention to, because they are creating some kind of story here that's going to come back around in March and April. Okay, especially Venus, as she's going into shadow, she's going to come back and be retrograding in this spot. So whatever's coming up now, it may seem subtle in some ways, or it may seem like certain desires, wants, or you know, something that is something to do with what you crave or what you really like could be coming up here to give you some kind of glimpse into the future. This is somewhat of like a prophetic new moon that's coming in. So the new moon may not be all the way felt right off the bat, but these other placements definitely can be. So just be on the lookout, be paying attention. And if you missed the beginning of the video, you're missing out. Go back and watch it. We talked all about the sign of Aquarius, more on a collective level. So anyways, I love you, Aquarius. Thank you guys so much for watching. And at least if you watch the horoscope, make sure to comment down below badass Aquarius rising and let me know, what you thought of it. Let me know if you are noticing some of these big themes coming up around this time. And moving on to Pisces risings. So for Pisces risings, this new moon is happening in your 12th house. My chart system is being weird right now. This new moon's happening in your 12th house, and so this is definitely a time where things could be a little bit weird in some ways. There could be a lot of unconscious or subconscious things coming to the surface, or that could be a very big focus over the next few weeks starting now. And also with Mercury and Pluto coming into their conjunction in your 12th house, this could be potentially something coming to light that was unknown or unseen. It could be something like a subconscious revelation you're having, or it could involve something outside of you, or a situation or other person outside of you. But there's definitely some deep, powerful messages that are coming up from the underworld in some way, or from a dark, like secretive or unknown place in some way, that is starting to allow you to click something in your head. Now, again, because this is a new moon and everything goes dark and it's like a void almost, you may not know, for some of you, this could be like a delayed thing. Like you may actually more so realize what this is about around the 9th, or even the Leo full moon on the 12th. So just kind of pay attention. And if you do notice something, great, let me know. If not, then okay, it'll probably be more clear in the next couple weeks. And so the other big thing that we have happening around this new moon is the Venus-Neptune node conjunction coming into their conjunction in the next few days after this new moon. And so this is happening in your sign as a Pisces rising. And so this is really the start of a really huge story happening over the next few months. So you really want to pay attention. What is coming up right now in terms of what you desire, what you want, what feels good, what you really like in terms of your identity, your appearance, your body, and your self-expression. Okay, with Neptune, or with Venus conjunct Neptune and the node in your sign, this is a really powerful time where you could be feeling super dreamy. You could be feeling like you have a lot of different ideals. You could be feeling just super hopeful, faithful, creative, imaginative in terms of believing in yourself, and in terms of what you're capable of, and in terms of who you could be and who you are and who you desire to be, and what you love about yourself, and how you can almost accentuate some of these things in some way, shape, or form, right? And somehow this could be tying into children, passions, romance, creative projects or creative pursuits, or family in some way, with Mars in your 5th house as well. And so there's definitely something here that's starting that you're going to come back around to in March and April. So just kind of be on the lookout for that for this new moon. And let me know what you are noticing come up around this time below, Pisces risings. I would really love to hear it. And if you didn't watch the first part of this video, go back and watch it. It'll make a lot more sense and give you a way deeper and higher perspective on what is happening and what's coming, and how it all plays into the grand scheme of things. And also also, if you at least watched your whole whole horoscope, comment down below Sexy's Pisces Rising so I know. And thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys in the next one. Moving on to Aries Risings. For Aries Risings, this new moon is happening in your 11th house of other people, organizations, your network, you know, the different groups and affiliations that you belong to or have with other people, right? And so this could bring up topics of marketing or who you are connected with on the internet, or audiences that are, you know, that you belong to, or, you know, different social environments you belong to, social causes you belong to, things like this. So this new moon happening here, and over the next several weeks, you're going to be noticing these topics really start coming up in your life, and this area of life starts becoming more of a focus for you. And right around this new moon, we have the Pluto-Mercury conjunction happening here in your 11th house as well. So it looks like there's some powerful information, powerful news, powerful insight coming in to do with this area of life. Maybe even something being revealed that you were unaware of, to do with friends or other groups, or you potentially changing your mind or seeing things differently about some affiliations that you have in your life, or potentially you just getting powerful news or powerful information, or potentially seeing some kind of powerful announcement, something like that, right? Could be really coming up here to do with maybe a company you're involved in, an organization you're involved in, a social cause you're involved in, something to do with networking, marketing, or online spaces, you know, all of these different things that involve really big social events, social statuses, anything social going on in your life is really covered in this area. And so this could be, you know, some kind of big news happening here right around this new moon. And if it's not revealed right around the new moon, just because it is a new moon and the new moon does go dark, it does make things dark, it will likely be revealed by the 9th or the 12th, okay? So just pay attention to that, of February. Now, the other big thing we have happening here is that Venus is coming into her conjunction with Neptune and the North Node right around the time of this new moon and the few days after. And Venus, Neptune, and the North Node are all in a kind of somewhat loose trine with Mars and Cancer and your 4th from your 12th. And so this could also be a lot of really dreamy energy happening in terms of your past, your subconscious, dealing with things that you're letting go of, your spiritual life, your spiritual practices, pursuits, intuition. It's like you could be getting into something more behind the scenes, or you could be going on a detox or trying to let something go, or getting interested in something around this time that's going to come back around because it's very important. And it could have something to do with maybe healing from the past, or healing in terms of ancestry or family or your roots or your home life. Or you could even be getting the inspiration to like travel far away or go on vacation or something like that, that could somehow be coming back around in March and April, because as Venus is coming into her conjunction with these placements, she is also going into shadow. So she's going to be returning to this spot in the next couple months. And so whatever's starting now, it's important to pay attention to, because you're coming back around to later on, okay? So let me know down below, Aries Risings, if that is resonating and what you are noticing coming up. And if you missed the beginning, you're missing out on the most important part of this video. Honestly, it will explain things on a much higher perspective and a deeper perspective, and give more meaning to this reading for you as well. And also, I'm going to likely be doing monthly horoscopes as well, so that's why I don't spend too much time on the new and full moon horoscopes. And also, just go back and watch the beginning, because you're missing out if you didn't. But if you did stay all the way through your horoscope, at least make sure to comment down below, and comment Sexy Aries Rising down below, so I know that you stayed through the whole thing. And with that being said, we are going to move on to Taurus Rising. Alrighty, my lovely Taurus Risings, let's get into your horoscope for this Aquarius new moon and the other few things that we have going on. If you missed the beginning, you're missing out on a lot. It's going to fill in a lot more with your horoscope and add a lot more to your horoscope when you watch the beginning, because that's where all of the good stuff is. But this new moon for you is happening in your 10th house. So over the next few weeks, you are going to see a major focus on career. Likely you already have seen somewhat of a focus on career coming in, even in, the last, few weeks before, as well as we have had, other Aquarius transits happening. But this new moon is really marking some kind of new beginning happening here that you're really going to start noticing as this new moon starts building. So from January 29th and onward, there is some kind of blank slate happening here with your career, or fresh start, or fresh new energy kind of coming in. And that is going to be marked by this Pluto Mercury conjunction also happening right around the time of this new moon. So this could look like a really important decision, or a really important, announcement that you are making, or even some really deep, important, powerful news that really changes the course of something. Likely, you've already been seeing remnants of this over the last few months, as this is part of a grander story that's been happening with some of these Pluto transits that we've had, that I actually talked more about in the first half of the video, which is why that part is very important. But either way, what you could really notice on this new moon is some fresh new energy coming in, but it may not completely be out in the open first, right? So the way that I see this playing out, there's kind of two ways I could see this new moon playing out for most people. Either there is something there right around the new moon, there is some kind of powerful information, announcement, message, news, conversation, something happening there that really reveals something or changes the course of something. Or there could be something brewing underneath the surface that is later revealed over the next week or two after the new moon. Just because a new moon is dark, it's kind of like a void, so we can't always tell what this new beginning is going to be about just yet, or what it's going to bring into our lives. But on top of all of this, we also have the Venus-Neptune North Node conjunction kind of coming into its conjunction over the next few days after this new moon as well. And so this is really important because Venus is going into shadow right around this time too. And this can really, really bring up another pretty big focus on your friend life, your social status, groups of people or different groups that you belong to, social causes, social issues, networking, marketing, organizations that, and some that you're somehow connected to. There's some kind of, I feel almost like dream or dreamy energy, or something that you're feeling rather attracted to on some kind of idealistic level about your social life, or about who you want to be in the world, or who you want to be in terms of some kind of, something to do with other people in some way, or how you want to share things that you love, or things that you're passionate about with other people in some way, or putting something out into the world. There's something to do with this also starting around this time. Again, it may not be completely understood by you right around this new moon. This is definitely a story, though, that is starting with this Venus, with these Venus transits, that's going to come back around in March and April. Okay, so you do want to pay attention to this time, because this Venus retrograde is showing you something here, giving you a little bit of a glimpse on what this Venus retrograde is going to be about in the days following this new moon in Aquarius. So from the 29th, and for the first few days of February. So this is a powerful time that can be somewhat prophetic, and that can bring powerful realizations, powerful new plans to the surface, or powerful information to the surface, powerful decisions to the surface about what you truly want. A Venus retrograde is usually us reflecting on what we really want, what we really desire, what really, means something to us, matters of the heart. And so this is really big. For some of you, this could even be tying in something to do with this Mars retrograde in your third house of your environment, siblings, family, extended family, your neighborhood, your location, short travels, things like that as well. So some of you guys could be noticing some things coming up with that too. And for some of you, this could also be tying in the topics of finances, things that you own, and resources, with Jupiter being in your second house and trining this new moon. So it's almost like something is clicking here, and we're starting to understand more, but it's still not all completely understood just yet. So let me know how that is resonating with you down below, Taurus Risings. And again, if you missed the first half of this video, that is the most powerful portion of these videos. So definitely make sure to go back and catch that. That will make this portion make a lot more sense, and just build it. This portion will just build on top of that beautifully. But also, if you did watch this full horoscope, your full actual rising sign horoscope, then make sure to comment down below sexy Taurus rising and let me know how it relates. Okay, so thank you, Taurus. We are moving on to Gemini risings. So for Gemini risings, this new moon is happening in your 9th house. in the sign of Aquarius. And so over the next several weeks, this is marking some new chapter in your life or some new energy that's coming in that is really centered around your belief systems, especially your social ideologies, your ideologies revolving around social systems and social causes, social groups, what is important to you in those areas of life, what you feel like the greater good is, in certain situations in your life, and where you put things aside to kind of stand with those that you relate to, or stand with certain groups that you belong to, or stand with certain ideologies and beliefs that you feel are more impactful for the greater good or for some higher purpose or calling. So this is going to be a big focus coming in for you with this new moon. And I mean, it's already been somewhat of a focus even through the first part of January, as we've had other, planets moving through the sign of Aquarius as well. But this is definitely bringing something in to do with your ideologies and your beliefs and the way that you see things and perceive things on more of a collective scale, and how your beliefs and ideologies and philosophies and your outlooks and views, whether they be philosophical, spiritual, political, religious, kind of tie into all of that. Okay, so you're really going to be reflecting on, or some potentially starting something new, or having some kind of new energy come in to do with your beliefs and ideologies here. And potentially that could also involve educational pursuits or travel pursuits in some way for some of you. But either way, that's going to be the main focus over the next few weeks. Now, with that being said, there could be something changing as well in this area, or that has started to change in this area over the last few months, as Pluto has been here as well, as it just entered the end of November. So there's also been a lot of deep, powerful stuff that maybe you've been realizing or starting to awaken to, or, that has been kind of, hiding underneath the surface, but now coming to light. Or maybe you've been kind of changing your mind about how you view the world, or, how you, what you believe in, or the ideologies that you've been following up until the last few months. And so this is really going to come up for you, and I'm sure the week right before this new moon, the week leading up to this new moon on the 29th, you likely already started noticing some powerful change here, as the sun conjuncted Pluto right around mid-January, or more like January 18th, 20th, 19th, 20th time frame. You likely already kind of noticed some big realizations around that time. But now Mercury is coming in and conjuncting Pluto. So Mercury is bringing in the communication, the mental, kind of mindset shift and planning aspect of this information. And so there could be some deep, powerful information, decisions, news that is kind of coming in here to do with something very powerful, to do with something transformational, or to do with dealing with something that has maybe died and needs to be reborn in terms of your views, your outlooks, etc., on the world and on life, and the meaning of life, etc. So this could even be for some of you, if you are in some kind of college or going to school for something, this could be some kind of news from the school, or this could be you making a powerful decision to change your major, making a powerful decision to leave a certain area or move to a different area or a different country. Or for some of you, this could be you changing certain ideologies, or really big beliefs that you had stuck to for a while, and now your mind is changing here. Or now maybe it's time to express something that you've been kind of keeping in or bottled up in some way. So you could see remnants of that around this new moon, or at least starting around this new moon, and they may even be more clear by the 9th of February, okay? And so also the other big thing we have happening here is Venus is coming up on her conjunction with Neptune and the North Node right around the time of this new moon, and she's going into shadow right before this new moon. So this is a really powerful and kind of an important prophetic transit that's happening here, as she's kind of hinting to what her upcoming retrograde is going to be about right now at this time. And so whatever is coming up for you right around this new moon and the following few days after is going to be very, very important, as she is basically saying, hey, there's something that you want, that you're interested in, that you're kind of being drawn to or attracted to in some way. And it may feel like too good to be true, or it may feel like a fairy tale, or it may feel like out of this world or otherworldly or super imaginative or creative, or, you know, a dream that you have about your life, your future, your career, the work that you want to do in this world and your legacy. But it's all aligning right now. And even if you're scared to take action, right now, even if you're not ready to go full steam ahead on it right now, it's fine, because you're going to have the next couple months to really, really reflect on it and make sure that it's what you want. Okay. Since she's going retrograde March 1st. Okay. So everything that comes up from now until March 1st, you're going to be coming back to and rethinking and reflecting on, so you can figure out what you really want. What is your dream for your life? How do you want to give to the world, and what do you want to receive from the world? With this being in Pisces, what is your dream, and what is your belief, and what is the freedom that you want for your life and your legacy and your career and all of that, right? And so that's going to be very, very powerful. And it could also potentially be tying into this new moon in your 9th house of education, travel, your beliefs and ideologies somehow, since Saturn is ruling this new moon, and this Mercury-Pluto conjunction happening in your 9th house. So all of this could somehow be tying together, and also somehow tying together with your resources, your money, income, what you own, your needs, the things that you're dependent on with Mars retrograde in your 2nd, but also your identity and how you think about yourself and how you express yourself, your body, your appearance, etc., with this new moon trining Jupiter in your 1st house. So it seems like you are starting to get some answers and starting to feel something new coming in here that is going to bring more clarity, and you're starting to feel this attraction towards something new that you want for your life and your future, but it's still somewhat mysterious. But don't worry, because it will be clear over the next couple months. Okay, so that is what I'm seeing for you as a Gemini rising for this new moon. Let me know down below if that resonated with you and what you do end up seeing coming up for around this time. And we are going to go ahead and move on to, oh, by the way, Gemini risings, if you missed the first half of this video, like I said, go back and watch it. It will add a shit ton of context. That portion is always the most powerful portion of these videos. And then also, if you watched this whole horoscope portion for your rising sign and you're still here, then make sure to comment sexy Gemini rising down below so I know. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to Cancer rising. So for my lovely Cancer risings, this new moon in Aquarius is happening in your 8th house, bringing in some kind of new energy, some kind of new beginning in your 8th house of finances, wealth, money, investments, and any financial ties you have, or anything that you share with other people, whether that be resources, finances, etc. Okay, this could also be your partner's finances as well, inheritance, taxes, all of that, right? So this is a big financial few weeks for you where you're really focusing here. But not only on that, it's going to be a little bit less about what you want and what you desire, and maybe spending on yourself and worrying about yourself, and a little bit more about you collaborating and focusing on the greater good, or the, future of your collaborations with others financially. So this could really look like, focusing on what's best for you and your partner, for instance, or what's best for you and your family, or what's best in terms of, your future financially, right? And so you may have to put some things aside that you would normally want to do and focus more on the greater good for your finances and your wealth, etc. Okay. Now, on top of this, we have Mercury and Pluto coming into their conjunction in your 8th house right around this new moon. So this could be some really important, powerful news coming in here to do with your finances, and or to do with some big endings, since it's the 8th house, and some big new beginnings that could somehow affect your finances or your financial plans. This could also be some important news from a partner, if you share things with a partner, or a big decision that you're making, or something that you're deciding to break free from financially, or something that you're deciding to collaborate with financially. Either way, there's some really deep, important, and powerful news coming up here, or at least something being revealed here for a lot of you. And if that's not particularly clear right around this new moon, then it definitely will be by probably February 9th, okay? So also we have Venus coming into her conjunction with Neptune and the North Node, and this is happening in your ninth house. And Venus is also going into shadow right around this new moon. So this is really big. I think that you are starting to, or going to start to feel like you are attracted to some kind of bigger ideal for yourself and your life. And this could involve travel or education or, just maybe a new way of living your life in some way. What is the vision, purpose, and meaning for your life? Like, what are your beliefs? What are your spiritual beliefs? What are your, kind of philosophies on life? What are your outlooks, your views? And how is that, somehow helping you on a day-to-day basis, right? And so with Venus coming into Neptune here, it's definitely like you're starting to feel this new vision coming in about, what you want your life to be like, or potentially a new dream, or potentially something that feels really idealistic and mystical, but that you really want out of life. But you may still be a little bit like, I don't know if I can do that, or I don't know if I really believe that I'm capable of that right now, or I don't know if right now is the best time, but that's okay because this is going to come back around over the next few months. So you have the next couple months to really reflect on this and think about whatever is coming up on this time. And so that's why it's really important to pay attention to this Venus going into shadow right at the end of January, because she's coming back to this point later on in March and April. Okay, when she goes retrograde March 1st, she's going to start in your 10th and then move back here to Pisces, where she's at now. So you're going to have the next couple months to really reflect on what you really want in terms of your life and your outlook on life, and how that assists you in living your life and moving forward. Okay, so that's going to be really big. So make sure you're paying attention to that. And that somehow could also be like teaching you lessons in terms of what you are capable of with Mars in your first house. With Mars in your first house, you could really be noticing with this retrograde, Mars retrograde, where you feel not very confident or not very secure or safe within yourself. It could be bringing up a lot of mixed emotions, a lot of things from the past that you've been holding on to related to your identity, your body, your appearance, places where you almost kind of feel weak, right? Because Mars feels kind of weak in Cancer, and because it's basically in fall in Cancer, it's way out of its comfort zone. And so you could be kind of noticing these different places where you feel weak or have been hard on yourself, or where you feel like there's some kind of conflict going on within you, or certain insecurities going on within you, and potentially blocking you from taking care of yourself, or being good to yourself, or being nurturing to yourself, or even others, right? Where have you been kind of blocked emotionally and expressing yourself for who you really are? And that's what this Mars retrograde is really having you reflect on. And so that could be coming up around this time too. So that's what I'm seeing for you as a Cancer rising. If you watched your whole horoscope, if you're still here, make sure to comment down below sexy Cancer rising so I know. And if you missed the beginning, you're missing out on pretty much the most powerful part of this video. It gives like the actual context of this new moon and what's happening and how it fits into the whole story of what's going on in the cosmos. So you definitely want to make sure that you are watching that portion. So if you missed it, then go back to it. You still have a chance. And we are going to move on to Leo risings, my fellow Leo risings. Hello, hi. Okay, so as a Leo rising, I'm not gonna lie to you, Aquarius season kind of sucks for us. It's not really a fun time of year. The Leo full moon is the highlight though. So we do have a full moon this month on the 12th, on February 12th. And that is going to be the highlight. That's going to be where we start getting our spark back, baby. It's going to be the glimmer of hope, the light at the end of the tunnel. But these first couple weeks are not as fun. And I'm going to be honest with you. They're not like horrible, like you don't need to be scared or anything. I think we've been through a lot of really powerful stuff the last several months. So, but it's just out of our comfort zone, right? Because as a Leo rising, Aquarius is, our seventh house. We don't understand that area of our chart as much, right? Even though it's opposed to us. So it's like, okay, this is very opposite from how I am, right? Leo, as Leo risings, we are more, we are more comfortable and focusing on ourselves, worrying about ourselves, like going after the things that we want. And we feel better when we're confident, when we feel like I can shine and I'm special and I'm worthy and all of that. But we are in Aquarius's zone, and Aquarius's zone is about fitting in and being normal and being relatable and our shine, like we're at, you know, the sun, our chart ruler, the ruler of Leo, is in detriment this season. And so it can feel like our light is just not as strong right now. Our vitality, our energy, our hope, our sense of self is just not as strong right now. And that's okay. Okay, it's like I said, the Leo full moon will definitely help. But these next couple weeks of dealing with this energy, there's a major focus on our relationships and other people and the outside world and how we view things on the outside. And so we're gonna start noticing a lot more things that are coming up, or situations that are coming up that are, again, kind of pushing us to put our own desires, wants, and self on the back burner because there's something going on with others or people important to us or external situations that feel like, you know, I have to do this for the greater good, or this is what's going to be good for everybody, so I need to put my own self aside for a minute. And that's what it can kind of feel like, right? And we've already been kind of dealing with some of that anyway, with some of the other transits that we've had over the last several weeks, so I get it. I know that I've been feeling that way as well. Pluto being in Aquarius has already been making us feel that way. But this can feel like a humbling kind of season, right? The way I describe this a lot of the times is like, you know, like as a Leo rising, and I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate to this, it's like being in elementary school and you know, learn how to draw, right? And you where you learn how to color, and you color like the most beautiful picture. You feel like you stayed completely inside the lines, like it looks perfect. You even were able to like fade certain colors and you know, like you're like, I have the best freaking picture in this classroom. Okay, this picture is bomb and no one's gonna tell me differently. Okay, like this picture is the best and it's gonna win this freaking contest. Okay. And so the day comes and you're going to show your picture to the classroom and to the teacher, and you get up there and you show the picture to the classroom and the teacher, and no one cares. No one claps. No one gives you a compliment on it. You get no affirmations whatsoever, and you feel completely rejected and come to realize there are no winners, right? The teacher's like, nobody wins. You're just like everybody else. Nothing is special about you. So and it breaks our little Leo hearts, right? And we're like, what? And we feel rejected, right? And that's kind of a Leo in Aquarius season, in the Aquarius zone, okay? Again, I'm not trying to fearmonger you, okay? Some of you guys could be just fine. I think honestly, and I really should follow my own advice, don't be on social media too much the next couple weeks. We're just going to be noticing, or at least feeling, a lot of rejection and noticing a lot of just social conflict and stuff. It's really going to kind of drive up all these Aquarian topics of what's good for everybody, what's good for this group, what's good for that group. Put your individual shit aside and focus on the group, or you're so selfish. And I mean, you could be we could see this in some of our relationships as well, or with coworkers or whatever. So, I mean, it's just a time where we feel like we have to we're either having to put ourselves on the back burner, or we feel like nobody fucking cares about about us right now, right? Like, and it's just that time of year, right? So being a little bit more collaborative, and also, you know, knowing that you're a fucking badass and that you're worthy and that you don't need validation from other people all the time. Okay, like, this is where the sun is at its weakest point, so it's kind of like naked, it's not as bright. It's like, but I'm so used to like everybody seeing how bright I am, and now I'm kind of like not as bright, right? So it feels like it can feel like we're almost like clinging to others to give us some kind of like you know, like external confidence in ourselves, but we're not gonna get it, right? Like, it's not gonna, and even if we do, it's not gonna be fulfilling, because light comes from within, right? It comes from our soul. It comes from us knowing who we are, us feeling good about who we are, right? Like us being in our own energy and feeling aligned with who we really are deep down. And we will get back to that at this full moon in Leo, okay? Like, that will be the time where we're like, oh yeah, that's right, I'm a bad bitch. Whoops, forgot for a second, right? So don't worry, okay? Don't worry. Just a couple weeks where it's gonna feel a little weird, and we could feel a little bit more detached, aloof, a little bit more alone or isolated, or just not really our normal, usual selves, and that's okay. That's okay. Okay. So for this new moon, other than that, we have Mercury and Pluto coming into their conjunction and the new moon happening in our 7th house. The new moon is basically some kind of new chapter starting in relationships. Now, we've already been having some kind of story go on with our relationships or with just other people in our lives in some way, or how other people view us, or just our external circumstances. Just because there's been this ongoing story. I talked about it in the first half of the video. So if you didn't watch the first half, that's like the most powerful portion, babe. You need to go watch it. And it's from this fellow Leo Rising's perspective, so you'll likely understand what I mean. But this new moon is bringing in some kind of new beginning with our relationships. And this story that's been going on for the last few months, that started at like the end of October, beginning of November, then the end of November, beginning of December, then on and off all throughout December, there was some powerful stuff happening with Pluto in our 7th house, okay? And the Mars opposition and Venus going over it, like, just basically at the, like right around the, I want to say it was like the 20th of January, we had the Sun-Pluto conjunction, and that was pretty much also giving us more insight into this ongoing story that, it was like right around the 20th, that was giving us more insight into this ongoing story we've had with Pluto in our 7th house so far, which is really affecting us and bringing up some really powerful or deep topics to do with relationships. Now, obviously, if you're not in a relationship, this might not be the case for you, or it could be affecting just other really close people in your life in some way. But either way, there is some kind of story that's been going on here to do with relationships. And I think for a lot of people to do with the past as well, with Mars retrograding first in our sign and then now in our 12th house of Cancer, and things that we need to let go of, or things that we need to have faith with, or matter, like really personal matters of the heart, and bringing up conflicts or things from the past to do with safety and security as well. Okay, and so there's something really, really powerful going on here. And now with this new moon, we're going to have Mercury now conjunct Pluto, bringing in really powerful, honest conversations, or really bringing something very deep to the surface to do with a partner or to do with somebody else in our lives. So this could be some kind of really important or powerful news or announcement or information that comes from a partner, or that a partner receives, or somebody important in our lives. If it's not a partner, this could also be, some kind of decision from somebody in our lives. But either way, Mercury's the messenger, and Mercury's joining Pluto, which is the underworld. So there's some kind of message from deep down that's coming up, or from the shadows that's coming to light around this new moon. And if something doesn't come up around this new moon, then I would watch for around the 9th with the Sun-Mercury Cazimi, because likely there is something happening. It just may not be revealed right away. Okay, so you want to watch for that, because there's another piece in this story that's been happening since October that you want to be paying attention to. Now, the other part of this is right around this new moon, in the few days following, Venus is coming into her conjunction with Neptune and the North Node, and she's going to be going into shadow. So this is happening in our 8th house of our wealth, money, shared finances, and resources, and how we want to expand in terms of, and free ourselves in terms of wealth, money, and financial matters. Also, matters dealing with death, inheritance, tax, etc. Usually are associated with this house. Not to say necessarily someone's going to like die or something, but a lot of the times, like, it can be, just metaphorical, or something coming to the surface involving something to do with that, right? So with Venus coming into her conjunction with Neptune, this is going to be really powerful, because this is the start of a new story happening that we're going to be going into, a journey that we're starting the next couple months, because Venus is going to retrograde in March and then come back to this area by April. Okay, and so this is a really powerful time where we are starting to visualize, idealize, or realize what we truly, really want financially, or for our future in terms of money. This could also be you know, some kind of opportunity or money coming in. It could even maybe feel like too good to be true at first, but don't worry, because we're going to have the next couple of months to really reflect on this and if it's something that we really desire and want. I think this is really starting to show us like what we want on like a soul level and what's going to help us expand and find freedom the most in terms of our financial matters and our wealth and the wealth that we want to create and build in some way, shape, or form. This could also potentially for some also deal with a partner's finances or you know, even getting lucky and winning something. I would definitely say this would be a time to do that. You know, getting lucky and winning something or receiving something, something like that could really happen around this time. So yeah, this is some really interesting energy. So definitely let me know down below as Leo rising how that's resonating, what you do notice coming up for this Aquarius new moon. And if you are still here, comment down below sexy Leo rising. And again, if you missed the first half of this video, you are missing out on a lot, so go watch it. Okay. And okay, thank you guys, my fellow Leo risings, and I'm gonna move on to my lovely Virgo risings. So for Virgo risings, this is a new moon happening in your 6th house. So this is some kind of new chapter, new energy that's starting to come in here, starting to unfold with your health, your work, and your day-to-day routines. This is your house of maintenance. How do you maintain and keep up with yourself and your responsibilities, your duties, your tasks, your body on a day-to-day basis, right? And I think with this new moon coming in here and Pluto being here with Mercury, I think you're going to maybe be focused the next couple of weeks on finding some kind of system to help you either with your health, your job, or routines, or something that you're working on a day-to-day basis, something that you're really going to be focused on a day-to-day basis here. So that could be, you know, the case for a lot of you, since Aquarius is really about, you know, putting together systems and categories and all of that. And so you're really figuring out like, you know, what is the best way to experiment, to improve, to innovate, and to progress in my health, work, day-to-day routine, and maintenance area of life. Okay. Now with Pluto being conjunct Mercury right around this new moon, this is bringing in potentially some powerful news, some powerful changes, some powerful information to do with your health, work, and day-to-day routines as well. Okay, potentially a powerful decision, a powerful mindset shift. You know, there's some kind of news or information coming to the surface here to do with this area of life. And, you know, you're also thinking ahead too, like about your future, because this new moon is trining Jupiter, which is going to be going direct not long after this new moon in your 10th house of your career and your goals in life and where you want to be in life and what you want to leave behind. And so you're really thinking about how can I systemize and you know, put things together in my day-to-day life with my health, my job, my routines, and daily tasks and duties, you know, that's going to help me somehow out in the world or get to where I want to get to or help my future or help what I want out of life in some way. Okay. And then on top of that, you know, like again, you finding out this new information or a powerful conversation that changes everything, or some kind of news that comes in that changes everything, or something that you learn about that's really powerful that gives you a solution to something or gives you some kind of system to deal with something, I think could be really crucial here. Now, in some way, this is also tying in your relationships and just your relationships with other people in some way, since Saturn is the ruler of this new moon and is in your 7th house, and also potentially your children in some way, since Saturn also rules your 5th house, but also right around this new moon, the next few days after, Venus is moving into shadow, which is really important. And you want to pay attention to this because whatever happens right around this time is going to come back around later in March and April when Venus goes retrograde and eventually comes back to the spot where she will then move direct after her retrograde. So something is starting here that you're going to be dealing with for the next couple months, that you're going to be coming back to a couple months from now and reflecting on. So pay attention to what is coming up at this time, because this is a very powerful, potent, kind of prophetic new moon in time. Plus, Venus is joining Neptune and the North Node in Pisces these next few days after this new moon, which is giving us a really dreamy, mystical, spiritual, like otherworldly, enlightened, idealistic, kind of dreamy, energy to do with your relationships and with other people in your life. It's like you're seeing hope, or those that are around you at this time are like more hopeful, or you're being kind of attracted to this more hopeful ideal or vision for your relationships. And the people around you could be kind of affecting your own, sense of ideals and things like that in like a really positive way at this time. And again, like I said in your 2025 horoscope, Virgo, this is very much about you learning to kind of let go and not need to have every little detail plan, little thing in place or under control all the time. So you're really learning how to let go and have faith, and how to receive from others, and how to allow others to, how to let others in, and how to allow others to kind of be there for you. And how to receive, and receive love and care and, gifts even from others, And so I think this could be a really beautiful time for you learning to kind of trust or have faith or let go in terms of your relationships, or some of the relationships in your life or with your partner. And then I also really see just this really powerful new chapter starting here in terms of your health and your day-to-day work and maintenance area of life. So let me know down below, Virgo risings, if that resonated. And if you missed the first part of this video, the first half of this video, you're really missing out. That's when I really share all of the really powerful, higher perspective, higher context stuff. And it really just will make your horoscope make so much more sense. And it'll give you so much more to reflect on and relate to. So definitely go back and watch that if you missed it. And if you did, if you're still here and you did watch your whole Virgo rising horoscope at least, comment down below sexy Virgo rising so I know. And thank you, Virgo. We are going to move on to Libra rising. So for Libra risings, this new moon for you is happening in your 5th house of children, your own heart's desires, passions, the things that you care about, matters of the heart, entertainment, dating, love, sexuality, romance. So this is kind of a time where you are definitely, a new chapter is definitely starting here, where you are kind of reflecting on what you truly want in your life and what truly makes sense to you in your life. And where you may have, like it's almost like where you need to kind of give up worrying about everybody else and all of that, and where you need to figure out where you fit into what you love, if that makes sense. I really feel like this new moon is bringing in some kind of new chapter to do with children, hobbies, romance, entertainment, sexuality, where you fit in versus where you don't fit in, and kind of embracing your weirdness or your quirkiness, or whatever. It's almost like I could see for some of you, it's like at sometimes you may want to appear as this kind of like superstar on the outside, or superhuman on the outside, but on the inside it's like, well, I'm kind of boring, or I'm kind of just like everybody else, or I like to just like get lost in a book, or I like to like read scientific articles for fun or do like these weird scientific experiments or whatever. Like that's my idea of a good time. And it's like, okay, like, so, embrace that, you know what I mean? But anyway, with Pluto and Mercury coming into their conjunction here, this could be a powerful conversation, powerful news, or some kind of information or announcement that you're making here, some decision that you're making here to do with these topics as well. Again, like hobbies, romance, entertainment, love, children. There's definitely, with Mercury joining Pluto, it's bringing some kind of message to the surface, or information to the surface here in a saga that has been going on since October. Okay, so you've been kind of getting pieces of the puzzle of this saga that's been kind of continuing with Pluto since the end of October, and now Mercury is just another piece of the puzzle, helping you to understand more powerfully what's really happening in this area of life in your fifth house. Now, on top of that, Venus is going into shadow in your sixth house of Pisces. And so this is another really important transit to pay attention to, as Venus will be retrograding back around to this spot in a couple months. And so this is the start of Venus's Venus retrograde story, okay, which is going to be a really big, huge one by the end of winter and going into spring. And so pay attention to this time. What is coming up for you around this new moon and the following days after, as Venus is coming up on Neptune and the North Node in your sixth house of Pisces and going into shadow? Because this is basically going to be the start of this story of something she's going to be teaching you the next couple months. She is aligning with Neptune, which gives us a very like dreamy, spiritual, otherworldly, ethereal, fantasy kind of vibe to potentially your work, health, or day-to-day routines. Like you could be getting extremely attracted or lured to something that is like, oh my gosh, like if I had that kind of lifestyle, that would be a dream. Or if I had that kind of health or body, that would be a dream. Or if I had a work life like that, or if I had a schedule like that, or if I had, whatever it is to do with the sixth house area, if I had like skin like that, I've noticed a lot the sixth house for me, every time I have major sixth house transits, I like get really into skincare around that time again. And so, but either way, it's like, how do you want to take care of yourself, your beauty, your job, your routines, and your health more? And what are you being attracted to or lured to in those areas of life that feels more freeing or feels more like, oh, that would be a dream come true? Or what are you envisioning for yourself in this area around that time? Because I think Venus is going to show you over the next couple months how you can turn that dream or that vision into reality potentially. Okay. And so it's like, this could also be, bringing in the opportunity for like a job that you feel way, way, way more aligned to, or that feel like a door opening that's like, oh my gosh, I would love to have this job, or this job would be perfect for me, or, and it could involve like helping other people in some way, or serving others in some way, or more creativity or imagination in some way, or something spiritual even in some way, right? Like there's something here where you are really being drawn to something that is more, that feels higher, right? That feels like a higher kind of thing in your life, or a more freeing kind of situation in your life, like or vision or something in your life. And so like you could be getting into some kind of new routine around this time that's more like spiritual, or that feels more comfortable, or just flows more, or that is more about like self-love, or like romanticizing your life more or something, right? Like something like that. And this is huge too, because Venus is your ruling planet. So Venus retrogrades are way, way more important for you as a Libra rising. And so, when she goes retrograde on March 1st, she'll eventually be returning to this area, but this is the start of the story. So really, really make sure that you're paying attention around this time to what comes up. And it may seem almost like too good to be true, or you may feel kind of unsure if like what to do about it, and that's okay. You're gonna have the next couple months to really reflect on it, so it'll be fine. But anyways, that's what I'm noticing for you, Libra risings. Let me know down below if that resonates. I'd love to hear your feedback, and if you're still here, comment sexy Libra rising down below so I know that you watched your whole horoscope. And if you missed the first half, you are missing out on a lot. So again, definitely make sure to go watch that. That is like literally the most powerful part of this video. So definitely make sure that you're tuning into the first half of the videos for these new and full moon videos. So okay, Scorpio risings. For Scorpio risings, you guys have this new moon happening in your fourth house of your home, family, and personal life. Okay. And this could be a time where, like this is the bottom of your chart. So sometimes, Aquarius season could even be a little bit of like a humbling experience for you, or a little bit of an experience where you're feeling a little bit more introverted, you're feeling a little bit more private, more personal, or maybe even wanting to be more secluded or isolate yourself a little bit more, or focus on just your home life or what's going on in your personal life more around this time and over the next few weeks. okay? And that could be because this new moon is coming in, starting some kind of new beginning or a new chapter here in this area of life. But also Mercury and Pluto are joining here right around this new moon, bringing some really powerful, deep, and potentially serious information to do with your home, family, or personal life. This could be something to do with like making some kind of powerful change in this area of your life, or something to do with a family member announcing something or giving you some kind of information or having a deep conversation with family. Something like this could be happening in this area of life right around this new moon with this Pluto Mercury conjunction. Now, if you don't quite see what this is bringing up in your life around this new moon, you should definitely notice something by the 9th when Mercury joins the sun. I think that's when we'll really see, what's going on with this Mercury-Pluto conjunction if we don't see whatever information comes out around, the new moon. So basically, there's some kind of new beginning starting here with how you really want to go about your home and family life, how you want to progress, and how you want to systemize your home and family life, or even just feeling a little bit more like, okay, like I just want to kind of isolate or seclude myself or focus more on, my home base, my nest, whatever that, things like that, right? So now on top of that, there could also be a major focus on children, matters of the heart, your passions, hobbies, entertainment, creativity, love, romance, and sexuality, because your 5th house is also very activated here as Venus is going into shadow right around this new moon, basically giving us the first preview of her upcoming retrograde this year, which she starts March 1st. So pay attention to the few days following this new moon about what comes up to do with your children, love life, sexuality, creativity, entertainment, hobbies, romance, anything that you may do like, for like a passion or something. Pay attention here to that area or those themes in your life, because there's something coming in here with Venus going into shadow. And while she's going into shadow, she's also coming into her conjunction with Neptune and the North Node, which is a huge, huge transit we have, like one of the biggest transits we have this year in 2025. And so it's basically starting now. So pay attention, because there's something really dreamy, ethereal, otherworldly, attractive, luring coming in here to do with, again, your love life, sexuality, romance, entertainment, children, creativity, hobbies, passion, whatever. There's something, some kind of new ideal or vision or something that is coming in here about how you, like what you really want and how you want this area of your life to look. But I think more than anything, what you really, really desire. What are you attracted to? What does lure you? What does bring you in? What does, having fun look like? What does pleasure look like for you? Like, these could be really big topics kind of coming up around this time that start this whole story that's going to continue for the next few months. So, so this is definitely really big. And somehow this could be tying into your home and family life somehow, since Saturn rules this new moon, and this Pluto Mercury conjunction, and Saturn is in your 5th house. Okay, so anyways, so that is what I'm saying for you as a Scorpio rising. Let me know down below, Scorpio, if that resonated, and if you're still here, make sure to comment down below. Sexy Scorpio rising, sexio Scorpio rising, I was gonna say. But let me know down below if that resonated, and if not, then let me know what you are noticing come up around this time, or if it did resonate, you can also let me know what you are noticing coming up around this time, because I want to know. And if you missed the first half of this video, you are missing out, boo, because it was powerful. First half of this video is always going to be the most in-depth, powerful video, and it will add a shit ton of more context to your horoscope as well. So I always recommend watching the first half of this video. Okay. Alrighty, moving on to Sagittarius risings. For you, Sag, this new moon is happening in your 3rd house, which is somewhat a little bit of a boring house. But either way, it is bringing in some kind of new beginning, new chapter, or new focus on your environment, your location, and your community, your neighborhood, siblings, extended family, and, just local things, local friends, or, friends that you talk to on a day-to-day basis, what you are doing in your community and environment, and what's going on socially in your community environment, since this is Aquarius here, right? So you could really notice over the next few weeks, there's like a lot of social things going on in your neighborhood or your town or your city, or your area or your community. There could be some kind of like social cause that catches your eye, or you could get a little bit more focused on some kind of social issues or social things that are going on. Or you could be hanging out with people more, collaborating with people more, spending a little bit more time online, or I think that's going to be a pretty big focus here for you over these next few weeks during Aquarius season. So those are some things that you can notice. Now, on top of that, Mercury and Pluto are coming in their conjunction around this new moon. And I think this is really bringing up, something that you likely have already been like noticing, or a situation you've already been dealing with for the last few months. But either way, there is some more clarity coming in here about something that you may have already been knowing or dealing with, or there is potentially new information revealed to do with it, or a really deep and powerful conversation, information, announcement, something coming in here right around this new moon. This could also be a powerful decision that you're making, or this could even be, for some of you, a really powerful short trip that you are going on. For some of you, because Mercury can rule like travel, and it's in the 3rd house, which can also rule travel. So for some of you, this could be potentially even some kind of secret travel or something like that, because, Pluto is, secretive. It's the underworld. It's, like what information or what things are coming up from the underworld, or from a deeper place or more serious place, right? That could be something. So we also will have Venus going into shadow right around this new moon, which is a big deal, because this is basically the start of Venus's retrograde journey this year, which is like one of the major transits of the year. So she will, go retrograde March 1st, but she goes into shadow right around this new moon, meaning that she's going to come back to this spot at the end of her retrograde. And so where we're starting is where we're coming back to, basically. So what's going on now, you will be coming back to in the next couple months. So really pay attention to what is going on now, especially related to your home, family, and personal life. Okay, like this is really, really big. Anything to do with home, family, personal life, real estate, your ancestry, the past, your anything personal or private in your life. This is really big. Your living situation, the people that you live with, etc. This is really kind of the name of the game here. Okay, so these topics are going to be really big. Plus, Venus is also coming into her conjunction with Neptune and the North Node in the following days after this new moon, which is also a really big transit of this year. Venus is, coming into her conjunction with Neptune, which is giving us, a very faded, dreamy, mystical, ethereal, otherworldly kind of energy, right? That's going to feel really good, or give us like a vision of something that we want, or something that we're attracted to, or something that we love. It's going to really bring up topics of love and beauty and desire and pleasure. And so with this being in your 4th house, where is that kind of mixing with your 4th house, your home, family, past, etc. So really kind of pay attention to those topics around this time, and you're going to have the next couple months to really figure out what this is bringing up in your life, and reflecting on it and all of that. So okay, that is what I'm seeing for you, Sag Rising. Let me know down below if that resonated at all. I'd love to hear your feedback. If you are still here, you can also comment down below, sexy Sagittarius Rising. I appreciate you. Again, if you missed the beginning, you are missing out on a lot. Okay, so make sure to go back and watch that. Alrighty, Capricorn Risings. Last but not least, my lovely Capricorns. Hope you guys are doing well. So this new moon in Aquarius is happening in your 2nd house. So this is definitely a new chapter, or some kind of new energy or new focus that's starting here over the next few weeks, to do with your resources, finances, assets, what you own, what you have, your priorities. The things that are close to you, the things that you depend on to like be you and go out in the world and do what you got to do, right? And so this is kind of the focus over the next couple weeks. but also like where you can be more innovative here, where you can be more systematic here, where you can be even more experimental here, right? Where you can be more, where you can kind of progress this area of your life, right? So this is definitely also bringing in with this new moon, the Pluto Mercury conjunction happening in your second house. This could be some major decision. I kind of almost see this as some like major decision. Like you already had some big aha moment, like right around January 20th when the sun went across Pluto. Like you probably had some really big revelation or realization, or something really came to light, kind of realized something here. But now with Mercury going across Pluto, I think you're really like making the decision to move things around, to change something. So I really could see this as like a lot of you making space, like clearing things out, letting some things go, maybe selling some old stuff to friends, or making the decision to kind of break free of certain assets or financial ties or whatever. Moving some things around financially, you know, it could be something like that as well. But I really see some kind of really big, powerful change or decision or mindset shift or rearranging of something happening here, or some kind of new information to do with your finances, assets, or something coming in here as well. So that's going to be very interesting. You know, where where do you collaborate with others financially? Where do you rely on others for your finances, assets, resources? You know, that could also be something really happening here. Now, the other part of this new moon is Venus is going into shadow, which is a really big deal because this is starting the journey of Venus's retrograde, which she will go retrograde March 1st. But at the end of her retrograde, she'll be coming back to where she is now, right around the time of this new moon. So in the following days after the new moon, pay close attention to what is coming up in your life around this time, because it's going to come, you're going to come back to this in some way, shape, or form later in the next couple months. Okay, so Venus is also going to be joining Neptune and the North Node in your third house of Pisces. And so this could be a really almost like the intuitive nudge or some kind of attraction, or you know, some kind of desire that starts to form here, or vision that starts to form here around maybe a vision or dream that you have to do with your local environment or to do with where you live in some way. Or it could even involve like siblings or a creative project or communication in some way, with it being the third house, or travels in some way. For some of you, this could be like, you know, maybe you meet someone and they have a specific type of like little shop or something, and you're like, oh my god, I would love to do something like this, right? I would love to like create my own little shop in town or whatever, right? Or maybe like you start kind of getting the idea by like watching some YouTube videos that you want to be like a van lifer or something, you know what I mean? Like something like that. It could somehow deal with like your environment, travels, location in some way. Or, you know, you could even like, you know what, like I want to start a project just to like share my creative insight or inspiration, or like whatever, you know, like some kind of creative hobby or project or skill set that you could even start desiring to learn around this time. But there's some kind of desire or vision that's starting to form here, and that you're going to be coming back around to, and like the next couple months may even be focused on and off. And so anyway, so I would love to know down below, Capricorn Risings, how this resonated for you. Also really quick, this could even be bringing in some of this Mars retrograde in your 7th house of relationships. You know, I'm sure this has probably been a little bit of a turbulent time for you with Mars retrograding in your 7th house, basically opposing you, potentially bringing a lot of like emotional, sensitive, kind of up and down, watery energy and conflicts to do with like other people in your life, or your like, you know, partnership, your relationship, your marriage. There's probably been a lot of tests lately with other people, or other people may have seemed very like emotional or triggered, or, you know, whatever, a lot more easily lately with this Mars retrograde. It's got you or your partner or other people in your life really reflecting on the past, or even bringing in people from the past. and really kind of been challenging with matters of the heart, you know, and emotions. And so this definitely could be a time where you've been noticing that the last month or so now, but somehow this could be tying into this vision or this desire that starts forming here. Like your partner could give you an idea, or something that you guys go through could give you an idea. Maybe you decide to, I don't know, like because of your emotional ups and downs, you guys decide to do like couples therapy, and then you realize you love it so much and then want to like do your own like spiritual couples coaching or something, you know, like I don't know. I'm just throwing in ways of how this could work out. For some of you guys, you don't have to necessarily think all of this is like literally, but you know, pick and choose where it relates or where you could see some of these things. So anyways, but let me know down below, Capricorn Risings, how this resonated, what you are noticing coming up around this time, and comment sexy Capricorn Rising below if you are still here. And if you missed the first half of this video, you are missing out on a lot. It offers a lot more context to this new moon, this time, and what's coming and where we're at right now and how it's all connecting, and how to really thrive with all these energies. And it definitely will relate a lot more and give a way bigger context to what's going on and help you navigate all of this. So anyways, thank you guys so much, and I will see you guys in the next one.